If you're writing the emails, the sales pages, and the social media posts, but still aren't getting the conversions you're looking for, here's 3 tweaks you can make to improve your copy. I'm going to break down the framework I teach my members inside Copy Classroom and that I use for my clients that have had sold out launches. Now, this is going to focus more on the actual copywriting part, but if you want support with messaging, which is all the stuff that comes before the copywriting part, go back and listen to episode 3 because that's going to help you with messaging. Welcome back to another episode of the Cozypreneur podcast. If this is your first time listening, Cozypreneur is all about helping you make money and work with the dreamiest of clients. So grab your beverage, get your cozy socks on, and let's dive in. The first thing to consider is flow. So thinking about how do the ideas connect with one another and how can you create a thread with your copy? So if you're in a launch, thinking about how can all of the emails flow together? Or if you are writing a sales page, how does the top of the sales page actually connect to the bottom? And how can you keep your reader's attention for that whole time? So what is the piece that goes all the way through it? Probably the simplest way to do that is to focus on one idea. And I know I said this episode wasn't about messaging, but it's all really connected and messaging is going to help your flow. What's the one problem you're solving? Why does that problem matter? What can your reader actually do about it and what it'll actually look like when they solve that problem? And then how does your offer help them do it? When you do have a clear message, the transition between all of those sections of the framework, it's going to be a lot smoother and it's going to feel like a story, right? So when you think about storytelling and copywriting, it is about your dream clients. What is their story? And your person is going to want to keep reading because they want to know more. Like when you're talking about the problem, they're going to be like, oh, like I see myself in that problem. And so they're going to want to keep reading to figure out like what can they actually do about their problem and how do I actually get help with this problem, right? And so making sure that everything that you write in your emails, in your sales page, on your website, it connects to your big idea, your big promise of what are they going to be able to get out of this offer? Okay, so the second thing to consider is readability. So I know some of you are real smart. I know some of you all have PhDs, but your clients are not trying to read a textbook. So what you want to do is connect the dots for them as clearly and concisely as possible. So instead of writing at a high school or college level, because I know you can, right? Write something a 5th grader could read. And it's not because your people are dumb. It's not that they can't read a college level, but when people are reading their emails, they're not trying to put in all of this effort into reading these high level things, right? Like they are shopping when they're reading their emails, when they're reading the sales pages. And so you want to make things as easy as possible for them. And so one is like putting in a lot of white space and making it super easy to skim because not everyone is going to want to sit and read. Like it's not a novel, right? You're not reading it for relaxation. You're reading it to get information and make decision about whether this offer is right for you. And so you do want to make it super easy for them to read. The other piece is that I see a lot is using jargon, right? So you are not necessarily using the words that you use to talk about what you do because you are an expert. Think about what are the words that your dream clients use. And if you are like, I have no idea how my dream clients talk about things, do some social listening. So have conversations with them, maybe do some market research calls, go into like Reddit, Facebook groups, comment sections and kind of see like how are they talking about these problems and then use those words to help you because it's going to be way more relatable if you talk at their level, somebody who's not an expert in what you do, and that's just going to make it like way easier for them to get the message and to understand how it is that you're going to help them. Okay, and I said this before, but adding white space because your people aren't trying to sit down and read a novel, right? They're not trying to read like a multi-paragraph essay. They are probably reading your email on the toilet, right? There's a limited time for you to get your point across and you need to get your point across quickly. And so when you are writing your emails, each paragraph really only needs to be 1 to 2 sentences. If there's big blocks of text, if you're anything like me, I just skip over them. I'm not reading all of those. I'll read the first sentence of a paragraph and then I'll keep going. And I look for things that are bolded or skimmed or like bullet lists. And so before you come at me like, okay, but actually like a paragraph should be 5 sentences. Like, no, you're not writing an academic essay. There's no rules. Copywriting is like probably the one place where you can break all of the grammar rules. You can think about, how can I write this in a way so that when people hear it in their head, it sounds the way that I want it to sound like. Another thing to consider too is the actual pattern of your sentences. So if you look at like, what is the actual shape of your email? Do you always use long sentences? Do you always use short sentences? How can you break the pattern? How can you vary it up to make it more interesting? Because if you always write in long sentences, you're going to lose people. If you always write in short sentences, you're going to lose people. And so really thinking about, well, how can you vary the sentences and really like kind of make it a little bit unexpected as people are reading. And then the last tip, and probably the most common mistakes I see for business owners writing their own copy, is not focusing on the reader. So you have probably heard this: copywriting is not about you. Copywriting is about your reader. And you can pop in, right? Share your story, share your wins, share your case studies, but ultimately everything you write is for your reader, right? Even when you are sharing your story, it's about relating back to your reader. Even when you share case studies, it's about giving an example of what they will be able to accomplish when they work with you. And so since everything is about your reader, you want to address them throughout using the word you. You. A lot of the time, and I see this all the time, especially inside the membership, right? People say we, and you want your client to see themselves in your offer. This is about them. You want them to know you understand their problem. You understand where they want to go. You know how to get them there. This is their story. And so you want to center them in their story and talk directly to them. So you really want to say you, right? So instead of, we are super excited to start this course, right? The course starts today and it's your chance to, what will they get out of it? And so really focusing on that is really going to help your readers feel like, okay, validation, right? And so really focusing on your reader, right? Making them the hero of the story, letting them know exactly you understand where they are, where they get to go, creating all of that white space, using the words that they use. All of these are little tips that are going to help you get more conversions. And if you're somebody who is like, Stacy, great tips, but I need this all written down for me, get the copywriting rubric linked in the show notes. It's all broken down for you so you can actually look at your copy and see where are the places that you can improve. I'll link it in the show notes. And if you want more support than the copywriting rubric of how to implement it, check out Copy Classroom. I'll also link it in the show notes below so that you can get support with your copywriting in that way. Until next time. That's a wrap on today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to rate and leave a review on your preferred listening platform. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe for weekly episodes about how to make money and work with the dreamiest of clients without having to get dressed in the morning. Make sure to check out the show notes down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.